Hello friends and welcome to Crochet and Crime. My name is Hazy Baby, and if you haven't seen my channel before and you're new, then come on over, like and subscribe. If you have seen my channel and you've been missing me, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I've been away for about a month now. I was trying to reorganize my life and get back into that sort of gameful employment, so I have had to sort of, head down, bum up kind of thing. So I am back. I will try and upload daily again. So yes, but yeah, so yay me, I am employed. I was already employed. Now I have 2 jobs and this channel. So, working mums unite. What? Anyway, if you're new to my channel, I crochet while talking about crime, specifically Australian crime. So, yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh, what is today's date? Today is June 27th, 2023. Yay. Good days I need to restart. See you in a minute. Okie dokie, artichokies, welcome back. Well, I'm welcoming myself back because you guys can't. Yeah. So I am currently working on a blanket for my sister. This blanket is purple and black because these are the colors that she would like it to be. Started the middle already and I am now moving on to the next round. I have named her Bertie, the blanket, not my sister. Because my sister is obsessed with Tim Burton films, specifically the cartoon versions. So I have the animated series, if you will. So I have named her Bertie after Tim Burton. So I think she'll like that. Bertie's a good name. So yeah, just doing this next round, and I have some stories to tell you guys because it's been a long time since I've done this. But I wanted to get back on track because I know you guys miss me. I know you miss me. Alrighty, so let's get started. So the first story is out of Melbourne. A boy, 14, dies after a suspected knife attack in Melbourne's northwest. So I will iterate, if you are new to my channel, then I am doing a subscriber giveaway. All you have to do is subscribe and comment on one of my videos and you can go into the draw to win a crocheted creation of your own, very own. I am making a neutral colored blanket. It's probably going to be about single bed size or lap size, if you will, couch size even. And yeah, so like I said, all you got to do is subscribe and like. I will say also, if you're new to my channel, that I talk about all crime here in Australia. Sometimes I talk about overseas and stuff, but it usually has stuff to do with children. It is violent in nature, women, children, that kind of stuff. So if you are not interested in that kind of content, then please feel free to move along. I won't be offended. Not all my content is for everybody, but I should put down a trigger warning just in case there are people out there who are sensitive to this kind of content. But if you're not, and you love listening to my lovely Australian accent, then please stay, come in, sit down, blah, blah, blah. Alrighty, so let's get on with this story. So a teenage boy has died after he was stabbed on a quiet residential street in Melbourne's northwest overnight. So just after 11 p.m. yesterday, officers were called to Bailey Street in St. Albans after reports of an injured boy lying on the road. When they arrived, they found the 14-year-old Braybrook boy had been seriously injured. Oh, this is so devastating. Such a young child. He died while being transported to hospital, so he was severely injured when police arrived and he died on transport. Police also received reports that a number of people had been seen in the vicinity of where the injured male was found and who appeared to be armed with knives. Neighbours who lived in the suburb, about 17 kilometres from Melbourne CBD, said they woke up after hearing a loud commotion outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so the one witness said they heard a car door shut and heard screaming and shouting. It's a bit dangerous to walk out here at night. A crime scene has been established while officers work to determine the cause of death of the teen. The homicide squad are at the scene as they investigate the boy's death. The officers of the major crime squad scene unit also have attended to process the scene. So hopefully we'll have some more answers on that. But by the sounds of it, he was stabbed to death. Probably over something very stupid. But I feel really sad for those parents having to wake up today without their child. But, yeah, that's really sad. Okie dokie, so moving along to our next story for today. So a truck driver has been charged after video emerges of alleged dangerous driving. So a truck driver allegedly caught on camera dangerously trying to overtake double-crossed lines and forcing an oncoming car off the road has been charged. Thank goodness, because the footage actually shows from another dash cam video. I have 2 cameras in my car as well, so yay to the good people who handed this video in. You guys rock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So the footage from the other vehicle shows the truck sitting behind cars at about 80 kilometres in an 80 kilometre zone on the Northern Road in Middle Dural in Sydney's northwest. The truck's noses over the double white lines and onto the wrong side of the road as it overtakes. So double white lines here in Australia means no, you cannot overtake during this period because it is single lane, because it is dangerous, whatever reason. But that's, double lines are a no-go. No-go unless you are pulling into your own driveway. Actually, I don't even know if that's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't quote me on that. 6. Anyone who knows the road rules better than I do. I'd just never cross a double line anyway, because I'm just like, meh, bloop, bloop. I just think of like Tetris, when the lines meet up, bloop, bloop, delete. In the distance, a white SUV is travelling in the opposite direction on a collision course with the heavy vehicle. With moments to spare, the white car pulls off the road to avoid the truck. The man behind the wheel of the truck, Mr. Mockbell, was today charged over Friday's close call. The 41-year-old is from Liverpool in Sydney's west but holds a Victorian licence. His driving record was described as woeful, obviously, and the truckie allegedly returned a positive drug test when he was arrested at the company depot in Riversby this morning. Of course he did. This is your brain on drugs, because only someone on drugs would think that was a clever idea. The driver with the dash cam footage reported it immediately to Castle Hill Police and offered the footage and registration and followed it up with another 3 phone calls over the weekend. He was not letting that person get away with it. Good on you. The narrow escape comes a week after a national truck safety campaign that puts drivers on notice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look, this truck industry is the lifeblood of Australia. It's literally the carotid artery of this place. Without truck drivers, we would have nothing. We would get nothing, we would have nothing. So it's ones like this that make the rest look bad. Trust me, I have truck driver friends. They're absolutely wonderful people as a group, but sometimes, just like in real life, the individuals are kind of fucking sucky. And by kinda, I mean a lot. They're a lot sucky. So I hope that he gets charged. So unfair is the next story I'm talking about, is a mother's grief after a toddler was killed in a crash. It was meant to be the start of an exciting new chapter in Simon Pickett and Felicity Stewart's lives. but instead their worlds have been torn apart. The couple and their 2 young daughters had spent the weekend house hunting in central Victoria after deciding for a tree change. Hold on. 5, 6. So after the family drove back to Melbourne on the Carter Freeway on December 6, 2021, a 43-ton semi-trailer crashed into the back of their Volkswagen. It's another truck industry problem. 2-year-old Harriet was seated in the back seat and was instantly killed. She had the whole world in front of her, Stewart told the court. She was such a kind and bright and joyful soul, and brought so much joy and passion to her parents, her sisters, and her wider family. This is so devastating. Sometimes these stories just make me so sad. And I'm so sad. Yeah, it's terribly unfair that her life was cut so horribly short. The driver of the semi-trailer, Matthew John Livingston, on Monday pled guilty to culpable driving causing Harriet's death. He also admitted negligent driving causing serious injury to Prickett and Stewart, and was endangering 10 other people in the vicinity of the crash. So the court was told that in a 400 meters before the crash site, there were several signs telling drivers, telling drivers to slow down to 40 kilometers because of roadworks, which, it happens everywhere. Livingston didn't hit the brakes until 0.091 seconds before the collision, striking the almost stationary Volkswagen at 86 kilometers an hour. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he was going way over the speed limit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that was when he hit them. So if he hit them going 86, then when he hit his brakes, 18-wheelers can't stop on a dime, literally. Thank you, Randy Travis. But, just basic math physics would tell you that it must have been going at least 100 kilometers an hour before he hit his brakes. The semi-trailer veered to the right, hitting a Toyota Hilux, which rolled and trapped another driver for about 2 hours. 3 other cars were struck either by the Volkswagen or the Hilux. And I have lost my scissors. I'm not using my teeth, yes I was. While several other motorists were forced to move their cars off the road to avoid being hit. Stewart had been airlifted to a hospital where she spent several months undergoing treatment for a catastrophic brain injury and other fractures. So it just goes to show how hard he hit her. She also has post-traumatic stress amnesia for weeks after the crash, and doctors advised her family not to tell her about Harriet's death until she recovered her memory. Pickard also suffered a skull fracture and bleeding in the brain, with the injuries continuing to affect him to this day. I woke up in the ICU in a state of delirium, completely unaware of the pain and suffering to come, he told the court. In a sad reflection, at the first funeral I attended was that of my daughter. Stewart also spoke of her youngest child, Jamela, who was 12 months old and trapped next to her dead sister, with her 2 parents unconscious in the front seat. Jamila will never know what it was like to have an older sister. She will not have her best mate beside her. She will carry this burden with her for the rest of her days. And it is true, as much as her parents will try and not, live in the memory of a dead sister, it will happen. It's just the way our brains work, unfortunately. So her life will never be the same. Prosecutor Grant Hayward told the court that Livingston had been sleep deprived, with other motorists seeing him swerve between the lanes that led up to the crash. But the defense is disputing that the 44-year-old was fatigued before the collision. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, they have some pretty strict laws in place for truck drivers now. I mean, they're not allowed to drive more than a certain amount of hours, and after a certain distance they have to stop and sleep. So I just think this is a cop-out, and I appreciate that sometimes companies might push people, but in all honesty, at the end of the day, they're not driving, you are. So, you know, pick your battles. Easy for me to say. I don't have to rely on driving a truck, thank goodness. But I do know what it's like to work very long hours, late and early and yada yada yada. So sometimes, you know, and fatigue is like, driving fatigued is the same as drink driving. It's been proven in a study. I can't remember the study, and don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure it is. I've seen ads. I've seen the ads for safe driving. Okay, let's move on away from that truck story and that dead toddler. So let's move on to a creeper. So a man broke in and installed cameras in a girl's bathroom. So weeks after posting images of his cousin's girlfriend on a pornographic website, a man broke into her house to install cameras in her family's bathroom. He later emailed the teenage girl under a fake name, threatening to expose her online if she did not send nudes. For more than a month, he sent threats, saying he would send the nudes to her parents if and come to her house if she did not comply. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he must have got his nudes. 5, 6. Never give in to blackmailers. Throughout the ordeal, the teenage girl was told by people that they had seen images of her on a pornographic website. The man, now aged 25, was on Monday jailed in Brisbane District Court on a string of charges spanning more than 6 years, including making and distributing child exploitation material, also known as CEM, that featured family relatives. After assessing images of the teenage girl through one of his cousin's devices, the man posted about 30 pornographic websites, 30 pictures to pornographic websites in September of 2016. He also broke into her family house twice, once to steal underwear and then again to install a bathroom camera with the intent of filming her before threatening her and blackmailing her. Isn't he a charmer, guys? He's such a charmer. So years later, the man then manipulated a 13-year-old girl into sending nudes. Oh my God, that poor baby. To have these conversations with your kids. Look, I'm not victim blaming here at all. It is not your child's responsibility. However, I do feel that if we've had this conversation with their child, then maybe, hopefully, that's like the only thing that I want as a parent, is that my child will feel, both my children will feel comfortable enough with me to come to me and tell me something like this. Because I would not be mad if they brought this to me, to my attention. I mean, I would be absolutely fucking fuming at the dude, but I would not be mad at my child. Even after, if they stupidly enough sent the person nudes, I still wouldn't be mad. It's not their fault. They are only children after all, and unfortunately, ever so trusting of fuckwits. Plus, blackmail only works if you let it work. That's how it works. So, in February of 2019, the girl started talking to him online, thinking he was a female, and he was able to access her Instagram account camera roll, and that featured nudes and photos and videos. Okay, First of all, why was a 13-year-old, did a 13-year-old have nudes to start with? And second of all, why, look, just don't take pictures of yourself naked. Like, seriously, just don't. If you wouldn't want it on the front cover of a magazine, don't do it. Don't take pictures of it. Honestly, even to send it to your husband or your loved ones, or your loved ones, like you're just going to send Granny a picture of yourself naked. Check me out. No, but you know what I mean. Just don't, guys. Just don't. Unless, you want to deal with the consequences afterwards, I'm okay with it. If you're more than happy for everyone to see your hoo-ha and your bits, fucking go for it. Hell for leather, I am all for empowering body images. If you are of the age of consent. And if you, yourself, had autonomy and chose to share those pictures, then yeah, go nuts. But, yeah. Otherwise, just don't take them and then no one will be able to steal them. Or take them, look how beautiful you are, and then delete them. Because, anyone who loves you is going to love you for what you are, not for what your body looks like naked. And trust me, I've met a lot of teenage boys and a lot of men, and they don't care, honestly. Anyone who asks you for nudes is a creeper. It's gross and weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But I have digressed. So let's move on, shall we? Back to the story. It's really thick. That's what she said. Woo! The previous round of this wool is a thicker wool. It's like a alpaca wool, and it's like super alpaca and synthetic, and it's like super thick in comparison. Like, I break it down to make my own color, but this is half of the thickness of what it was, and it's still so thick. Anyway, so the man told her that he was going to send the nudes to a pornographic website to ruin her life if she didn't send more. She complied, but blocked him. He then threatened her again with another account. In April of 2022, police searched and found the man had made and distributed the blackmailed material of more than 6 years, from 2013, starting at the age of 15. So he started at the age of 15. Oh, good job, parents. Good job. He told police that he had viewed and downloaded CEM on the dark web using a program of encrypted searches, installing software that would destroy the files. One folder on the device had images of a teenage girl that had been edited onto pornographic images. Police identified at least 25 girls who were known to him, including relatives. None of the girls were aware that their images were being used or shared online, or so they say. Police found 44 images and 610 videos involving children under the age of 13 on his device, and there were also 1,101 images and 310 videos of children over the age of 14. The man also discussed with users online how to avoid detection when looking up and distributing CEM. So he was also, convincing other people how to do it. Victim impact statements were received from the 13-year-old girl's mother as well as one other man of the man's cousins. It's clear that there's been a significant impact on these two victims. Judge Paul Smith has said the man developed addictive behavior after discovering CEM when he first searched the internet for pornography at the age of 13. He was sentenced to 4.5 years, which is absolutely not enough time, and will be suspended after serving just 18 months, guys, with 474 days in pre-sentence custody declared as time served. He'll be released in October on 3 years probation under strict conditions, which is absolute bullshit. If this is not a red flag for something else happening, I don't know what is, because it is a slippery slope. It is not hard to predict that he will go from distributing pornographic material to perhaps kidnapping and creating pornographic material. But, you know, people say that I am a bit jaded when it comes to this stuff, and I really hope that I am wrong. However, you know, past behavior is an indication of future behavior. Not saying that people can't change, just saying it's very unlikely that he's going to. He got away with it for a very long time. So now he'll just be smarter about it. 6. Unfortunately, we can't punish people for crimes they haven't yet committed. Or fortunately. Whatever. Depends which way you look at it. Alrighty, so moving on to this next story. It's a senseless, unprovoked, coward act. A man admits to manslaughter after fatally beating a person at a Crown casino. So within 13 seconds, yes, you heard that correctly, 13 seconds, Francis's life was taken away in a random and unprovoked beating outside of a Crown casino. This is my biggest fear as a mother of a male. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a avid party goer. When I was younger, I used to go clubbing a lot, and then most of the fights I would see were of young women, yes, and tiny women. They just fight each other like crazy. And bouncers and everyone else. But the other group of people that I saw, not women, were men who were very, 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 very angry, and it used to be called a king hit. 3, 4, 5, 6, but now it's called a coward punch, which I am glad they changed the name of it, because king made them sound like they were doing something good, and they were not. But I will never forget the sound of one time when I was in Newcastle. One time when I was in Newcastle, I was hanging out with my cousin and best friend, and same person, makes me sound like I have more friends than I do. And we were waiting in line for a cab, I think it was, and this guy asked for a lighter or a cigarette or something, and he asked a girl who was with her boyfriend, and the dude just waited for the guy to walk away and then punched him in the side of the head, and he hit the concrete, and it made the most god-awful sound I've ever heard in my entire life. And then when he did wake up, because he obviously was unconscious for a little bit, when he did wake up, he was crying and wanted his dad, and it was the most horrifying experience, one of the most horrifying experiences I've ever had in my life, and it sticks with me to this day, and I'm just so concerned that my son will be part of this, because more often than not, these poor boys and men, they die, like in this case. But yeah, so the 29-year-old concreter was about to start his dream job, but instead, on what should have been his first day of work, his family turned off his life support. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So sad. Tyson Armstrong has no reason for why he attacked Francis as they walked out of the Melbourne's casino's food court on March of 2022. He had no reason whatsoever. He'd been drinking at a barbecue meat festival. Ew, that sounds disgusting. Before going out to the Crown that evening with his friends. Francis had been taught to walk away from fights and didn't tolerate when Armstrong grabbed him from behind after midnight on March 26. Armstrong put both his hands around Francis's chest and neck, pushing him into some railing and then punching him in his face twice. So the dude was not going to fight, and refused to fight refused to fight the victim. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. and obviously didn't protect his head. It was so unprovoked. He was probably still trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. You can't handle me. I'm too big for you, a witness heard Armstrong say before he walked off. Frances, whose girlfriend tried to intervene, collapsed after 13 seconds into the beating and was taken to the hospital with bleeding on his brain. Medical specialists pronounced him brain dead, and 2 days after the attack, he died in a hospital from a head injury. Armstrong, 28, has pled guilty to manslaughter and faced pre-sentence hearing on Monday, where a dozen of Frances's loved ones filled the courtroom and spoke of their heartache over his death. His mother, Michelle Frances, said that her world crashed down when she was handed a blue box that contained Frances's ashes. And as a mother, bringing a child into this world, watching them grow up, watching them become successful, watching them live their life, and then having to bury them would probably be one of the worst things imaginable, I could imagine. It's a senseless and unwarranted, unprovoked and cowardly act that took my son, she said. So Emily Harris said that her big brother was due to start his dream career of concreting at the Westgate Tunnel on March 28th, the same day that his family switched off his life support. Such a kind, loving, selfless, beautiful man that didn't deserve what had happened to him. So Armstrong's barrister, Carly Marks, claimed that he grew up around violence and would often get involved in physical fights with family and friends. So I grew up with violence doesn't mean I'm going to go around punching people in the head. That's stupid. What a cop-out. Anyway, she said that Armstrong was drunk and believed Frances was a threat. Bullshit. And even though he was walking away and didn't engage in the fight at all, yeah, sure, he was a threat. A threat to what? Your manhood? Wanker. Armstrong is not a monster. Yes, he is. But generally someone who is certainly becoming something resembling a monster when two significant factors are present. Yeah, alcohol. And just, an inability to use his fucking brain. Then she says, an alcohol and a male who perceives, through his warped perception, as instigating violence or stepping towards him in some way that perceived was threatening. He is facing 25 years in prison. And I really, really hope he gets it. And yes, I know it was just one night, blah, 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 but I have never raised my hands in anger or any other way against another human being. Ever. And I don't think I ever will. Because honestly, the moment you lose your temper, you lose. So, and it doesn't do anything except cause misery. Cause heartache and pain. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, let's move along. Okie dokie. So this next story is about 6 men with alleged links to crime networks have been charged over a Sydney brawl. So we have another violent incident in Sydney. These places are becoming very scary. Okie dokie. So 6 men with alleged links to a crime network have been charged after an intense fight that broke out in the Westfield Shopping Centre in Sydney's CBD. Jeez, that would have been entertaining. Detective Superintendent Andrew Kuskloffs alleged a group of 4 men and a group of 2 men came across each other at a shopping centre on Market Street on June 21st at around about 12:30 p.m. They encountered each other and then have effectively attacked each other. They acted like animals in the middle of a very busy shopping centre. 2 men aged 19 and 21 were arrested shortly after on Kent Street and charged with the affray, and they will appear in court on July 12th. Following further inquiries, police carried out search warrants at 4 homes in North Parramatta at 6 a.m. on Friday, June 22nd. 3 men aged 30, 33 and 34 were arrested at the North Parramatta home, where police also seized 2 guns and about $30,000 in cash by the looks of it. Another $13,000 was seized at an Auburn address, and a 4th man, 26, was arrested a short time after that search. All 4 were charged with the affray and will appear in court, not on it, last Friday, sorry. They already appeared. Ta-da! Lekker. What do you need? What do you need? 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to charge you because you're a criminal. The 30-year-old and the 24-year-old were refused bail and will appear before court again on Wednesday, so tomorrow. And the 33-year-old and the 26-year-old were bailed and will appear in court again on July 6th. The first 2 must have already had criminal convictions for that to be the case. So all 6 men were known to police, and it's clear in the CCTV they helped track them down following the alleged brawl. Their all associates are related to a serious crime network, and police are continuing their presence as crack down the organisation of criminal activity, blah, 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 whatever. Just puff up some smoke, guys. They're all under immense pressure, and any criminal network that wants to operate in New South Wales will be under immense pressure to continue their operations, he said. Blah, blah. We have a powerful legislation and a powerful team, so it's almost impossible for them to operate. Clearly it's not impossible, because you just arrested 6 of them. Okie dokie. So let's move on to the Gold Coast now, where we have a young woman who was critical condition after being pushed from a van on the Gold Coast motorway in an alleged domestic violence incident. Not alleged, that is violent. But they have to say alleged until proven guilty. Well, why else would she be pushed out of a van? Okie dokie, let's read this story. So, a man has been charged after a woman was allegedly pushed from a van on the side of a busy Gold Coast motorway on the 26th, which was a couple of days ago. Police allege that the vehicle was travelling northbound at exit 49 on the Pacific motorway in I'd never know how to say that word. Anyway, it's a suburb in the city's north, and the incident occurred at about 9:32 p.m. The van stopped on the side of the road, and a woman aged in her 20s was allegedly pushed out. Oh, so it wasn't a moving vehicle. I mean, it's still pretty bad that she was pushed out, but it wasn't a moving vehicle, thank goodness. Or did they just, not come to a complete stop? I don't know, Hayley. How about we read the rest of the thing? True. How about we do? Woo! Now I'm beating up my own camera. That's what she said. Woo! Okie dokie. So she struck her head on a concrete barrier and remains... So they didn't come to a complete stop. And remains in a critical condition at the Gold Coast University Hospital. An 18-year-old Shilah Park man surrendered to police at the scene a short time later and has been charged with 1 count each of grievous bodily harm, domestic violence, assault, domestic violence, and contribution to the domestic violence order and driving while disqualified. So he had an order out against him by the sounds of it. And yeah, seriously. Why you get upset? Shush. Oops. Hold on. 4. Okay. We'll just move right along a little bit more. So the man will appear before the Southport Magistrates Court this morning. So maybe I'll have some more information about him later. And hopefully she will recover. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Alrighty. This one is about a stolen ATM in South Australia. So a stolen ATM in South Australia has been emptied and turned up on a country road in South Australia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's interesting. So an ATM was stolen in a atrocious ram raid on a South Australian pub, and it's turned up on an empty rural road. So the cash machine was lifted out of a licensed premise in Cuddle Creek, east of Adelaide, in the Adelaide Hills, on early Saturday morning. Police said that the machine, which had been broken apart and emptied of cash, only contained a small amount of money. The CCTV revealed the break-in happened at around about 4:30 a.m. A white Mazda was used to crash into the front doors of the pub, and 2 people were seen stealing the cash machine, police had said. Well, they're lucky that Mazda continued to work after that. Those things are not sturdy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, they're not built to ram raid buildings, so I wouldn't expect them to be. At about 5:30 a.m, police were called to the Angus Creek Road, around 10 kilometres east of Cuddle Creek, after reports of a white Mazda on fire. That car is on fire. It's probably stolen. That car is on fire. Excellent. Police checks revealed that the car had been stolen, which is what I just said, from the northern Adelaide suburb last week. A few hours later, a member of the public called police to say that they'd seen the front of an ATM on Tippett Road in Millbrook, 15 minutes from where the rest was found. So, it was quick. They stole it, broke into it, dumped it, and lit a car on fire, all within like 30 minutes. An hour, sorry. The youngest son of missing WA woman Yvetta Mitchell says that coroner findings are bittersweet. Bittersweet memories, that is all I'm taking with me. And yes, I am one of those people that all I need is a couple of words, and if it's in a song, my brain will find it and play it in my head. So I'm not crazy, I promise. I take medication. Oh, funny. I'm so funny. Talking to myself. So Kyle Mitchell was just 7 years old when his mother, Iveta Mitchell, vanished without a trace. He's now 20 and she's still missing, but Kyle's memories of her will and are forever etched in his brain and will never fade. I do remember every morning before school she'd wake up. The heater would be going, breakfast would be ready, school bags would be made, everything would be ready for us to walk out the door and go to school. Little good mummy. WA's Deputy Coroner has ruled that the 37-year-old mother of 3 was a victim of homicide, concluding that Yvetta had died at the time she disappeared from her home in Permella 13 years ago. Kyle said that he's always going to be hopeful that that is not the case, but he is glad for some answers, I suppose. 6. But by the sounds of it, she was a very good mother, and the likelihood of her just up and disappearing is, very unlikely. Alrighty, that was a short but not sweet story. Next one. So, a Perth man has been charged over 4 historic sexual assaults. Okay, again, like I said at the beginning of this video, some of these stories are heavier than others. This one will obviously contain sexual assault. We had some earlier that contained child pornography, so please just grain of salt here, guys. And I'd make no apologies for my opinions, even though they are very strong. I am strong-willed, okay? This is just what happens. You don't like my opinions? I don't mind. You don't have to like me. So, a 51-year-old man from Western Australia has been charged over 4 historic sexual assaults from the 1990s. Police said that the first incident occurred at about 8:30 p.m. on March 19th, 1995. It will be alleged that the man approached a 49-year-old woman who was walking along a footpath in an open space, and he threatened her with a knife before dragging her into bushland and sexually assaulting her. Officers said the second incident occurred at about 3 a.m. on March 19th in 1996. It's alleged that a 19-year-old woman was awoken by a man in her house in Scarborough. He then allegedly sexually assaulted the woman while threatening her with a knife. So that seems to be his MO. The third incident occurred at a student accommodation residence in Crowley at about 2 a.m. on February 4th, 1998. An 18-year-old woman was awoken by a man who allegedly threatened her with a knife before sexually assaulting her. A fourth incident occurred on the 14th of June, 1998 at around about 2:30 a.m. at a residence. I guess, again, same MO. So the man allegedly entered the house of a 20-year-old woman before sexually assaulting her. The man has been charged with 33 offences, including 8 counts of aggravated sexual penetration without consent, 5 counts of aggravated indecent assault, 4 counts of assault occasioning bodily harm, and 7 counts of attempted aggravated sexual penetration without consent. So that must have been a lot more cases. Police have also charged the man with 1 count of threat with intent to gain benefit, 3 counts of deprivation of liberties, and 3 counts of aggravated burglary and commit in a dwelling, with 2 counts of aggravated sexual penetration without consent. The man appeared before the Perth Magistrates Court today, and I do not have any findings of whether he was found guilty or not guilty, and I don't know how long he will get. But it is not a matter of if you will be caught, it is a matter of when you will be caught. And I am so thankful for these women for persevering and getting some sort of, air quote, justice. And I'm glad that your stories have been heard. And just in case no one has told you, I believe you. And I'm sorry. I know I did nothing wrong, but I am sorry that this happened to you. Okie dokie. Let us move on to probably, let's go 2 more. We'll do 2 more. So an investigation is underway after an officer has been recorded punching a man before using a taser in an arrest. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen this video. I've seen it on TikTok, and I've seen it a couple of other times, along with that Australia song. But basically, the police officer, drags him out through the passenger window and, beats him around the head a few times. A few too many times. So an investigation is underway after a police officer was recorded repeatedly striking a man before using a taser during an arrest in the Queensland's Moreton Bay region. A spokesperson said that an officer was responding to a crash at an intersection of Gympie and Somervale Road in Strathpine at 1:45 p.m. when he was confronted by a highly agitated man inside the car. Police will allege that the man was drinking from a bottle of wine and was well under the influence of the substance, police said in a statement. After the officer attempted to take the bottle away several times, it was allegedly thrown towards him. After giving numerous directions for the man to remain in the car, it was alleged he continued to attempt to leave the vehicle by kicking the door into the officer, who used physical force to contain the man inside the vehicle. So in the video, it's a very quick video and you don't know any of the circumstances surrounding it. All you see is the guy trying to climb through the door, the passenger door, and the police officer grabbing him by the scruff of his neck and just beating the shit out of him. So it is pretty hard to say why he would do that. So police continue to attempt to leave the car. The man continued to attempt to leave the car. After several verbal warnings, a taser was deployed by police, which makes sense. You know, the taser thing makes sense. Punching him in the face, not so sensible. Police said additional officers arrived at the scene, and another officer was allegedly spat on by the man. So the vision taken by the bystander of the arrest appears to show police officers punching the man several times before deploying a taser prior to the arrest. One bystander was heard saying, "You can't do that." Just like that. That's how it would have gone. And the man was taken into custody and gone to the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital for treatment for minor cuts. Senior police have been reviewed body-worn footage of the incident. Investigations are ongoing into the alleged actions of both the driver and the police, and no charges have been laid. And I hope none are laid, because... okay, surely the police officer shouldn't have punched the dude in the head, but... or at all, really. Should just use the taser. But, you know... police officers don't know what is happening inside the car. He could have had a gun, anything. We don't know. He was already showing to be violent. He spat on people. He was drinking and he caused an accident. So, you know, my first answer is not violence, but I don't know what I would do if I had a drunken person who wasn't listening to instruction coming barreling at me through a window. Probably would react the same. I mean, probably not, but still, I can appreciate how he got there. And hopefully the body cam footage will show more detail than this stupid bystander video. Okie dokie, let's do one more and then we will wrap up for today, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So this last one is a bit of a long one. So it is a family of a murdered Melbourne mother stare down the evil killer. I don't think people are evil, I just think people are fucked. So after Zoran strangled his estranged wife to death in their home, he moved her body to the basement and hid it under the stairs. Obviously not a bright crayon. The 48-year-old used her mobile phone to take 2 photographs of her before fleeing and crashing his car. What a fucking knob jockey. The 44-year-old woman failed to show up for work at a Melbourne school, and friends and family searched her home fearing the worst and finding the worst. They frantically looked for her 3 times before police confirmed the family's fears and found her body in the basement in the storage room later that evening. Because of course the family wasn't going to go looking for her body hiding somewhere. He claims that he moved her lifeless body so that his son, then aged 12, would not arrive home to find her dead. Elaine's family stared down and yelled at I have no idea how to say his name, as he faced pre-sentencing hearing on Friday after pleading guilty to his wife's murder, because he's a fucking jerk. Her mother, brother, niece, and best friend spoke of their heartache and the impact of her death has had on the couple's son, who is highly autistic. So now he's lost his mother and his father, so isn't that wonderful? But it's probably best that he's with the family. Hopefully they can give him the care that he needs, but obviously he will forever miss his mother. 6. What a brutal way to die. Fucking jerk. People suck, man. Individually. As a group. Collectively, they're okay. Oh no, collectively they suck. Individually they're okay. And individually they suck. A mother isn't supposed to bury her child. A grandmother isn't supposed to be raising a grandson, is what her mother has been quoted saying. You are evil and I hate what you have done to all of us, especially her son. He has a history of domestic violence towards his wife of 18 years, and the woman has described as his childhood sweetheart. The couple met in high school and married in 2002 before welcoming their son 6 years later. In the year before the killing, Elaine sought court orders to stop him from coming to their Mill Park home, and those orders had lapsed. 6. The couple had tried to be civil so that he could visit family and lunches and dinners to see their son. So she was trying to be accommodating. He believed they were going to reconcile, but she cut that off and said, "Nope, I have no intention of getting back with this violent man." On July 14th, 2020, the couple's son was sleeping over at his grandmother's house when Podolsky visited to pick up the boy's broken iPad. He was seen on the CCTV walking into the home at about 7:45 a.m. and left less than 2 hours later. Prosecutor Neil Hutton said that her murder was slow and deliberate, and the couple had struggled in the lounge room before he strangled her. 6. He was just, he finally realized that she was never going to take him back, and he murdered her. What an A-hat. After hiding her body, he then drove to the Western Wing Road and collided with another car, injuring 2 people. Police arrested him after the crash, finding Elaine's wallet and phone on him. So obviously he hadn't intended on having a crash. Apparently he calls his prosecutor, his defense lawyer has said that he has lost control. Well, duh. And asked that he be handed less than the standard 25-year prison sentence because he was remorseful and a model prisoner. Who fucking cares? Do we get to give her the life back then? No, we don't. He cried, of course he did, when he took the dock, crocodile tears, and kept his head down in the hearing and that was sentenced on August 11. Elaine's family stood and peered over the balcony of the court's public gallery as he was escorted out of the room, and I hope that he cries every day in prison. Haley has no fucks to give today. Okie dokie, so that is the end of that. That's a wrap, peeps, and I thank you so much. If you want the loyal people who hung around and asked, "Are you okay?" then I appreciate you very muchness. Yes, I am okay. I just took a job as a baker, and so I have been getting up at baker times. Anyone who is in my chefy family, you will understand that that is very early in the morning. And I had to get back into the routine of going to bed ridiculously early. But I am back now, and hopefully we'll be adding 1-hour videos daily again. If that's not a thing that I can actually do, it'll be weekly. But I'm at this stage trying to upload daily. So like I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's lovely little chatteroony, and I shall see you tomorrow. Well, you shall see me tomorrow. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. And don't forget to subscribe and comment if you would like a chance at winning a blanket. 6. Okie dokie. Thank you very much for your time and effort today. Bye!